Hey guys, another video. We are gonna we're gonna try to play one round here as long as the game doesn't break. Playing 8 game today, 50 cents a dollar. Playing shorthanded right now, hopefully get a couple people. If we play short, that's fine too. Queen 9-10 here, into the bring in 5. 3 overcards connected, easy open. Stud high, gonna get 7 cards, best 5 card hand's gonna win. Ace up here, kind of the same premise. If the 8 folds, we're going to steal against the 5. The 5 staring at the aces. It's just hard to defend unless he really has anything. He could re-raise me here with like an ace if he blocks the ace, but I think people at these stakes aren't going to really do that. So 2-5-9 rainbow here against a king behind me, and the 4 brings it in. We're going to fold. 7 card stud, you're looking for 3 to a suit, split pairs, buried pairs, rolled up if you can get them. That happens about almost like once every 400 and so hands. Jack 8-3 rainbow here. Could consider stealing, but I think this is just a little bit too disconnected. If they're over folding, then we can probably open a lot, but I'm going to let this one go. Yeah, I think it's like every 424 hands you're rolled up, something like that. It's been a while since I looked it up. King 4-3 here, suited. I'm going to go ahead and try to steal this one with the 2 spades in the hole. Jack behind me. If I get re-raised, probably fold. This is definitely one of my weaker steals, and I have like really no connection, but if I get flat called, then I have some equity. The Jack steals here, I'm just going to fold, or if he raises here, I'm going to fold. But if he folds, I'm definitely going to open with a queen against the deuce and an ace in the hole. I'm going to open again. And he folds. So we picked up a little bit of the antes there. Depending on your stud game, usually it really depends on how big the antes are. If the antes are really big, you should be playing a lot of hands. And if they're smaller, you can kind of wait around. King 5-4 here, 3-way. Omaha 8 or better. We're gonna call. So Omaha 8 or better. There's always going to be a limit Omaha high hand, and if you can qualify for the low, it is going to be 5 cards 8 or better, 3 on the board, 2 in your hand. So right now there's no low out there because there's only 2 cards still low, 8 or better. 8 or better. The ace is the gin card in this game because it plays as the lowest low and the highest high. So if you heard me say that a couple times. On this turn here, we don't pick up really any draws. We don't make a low. So if Vanek bets again, probably going to check fold. Kind of interesting that when he checks through, and we'd like to see net 7 on the turn, giving us a wrap and a 4-5 low. Problem is now is if it goes check check bet call, we're gonna pay off here with 4-5, but we don't love it because there's a lot of hands that are gonna scoop us if he's got a better low than us. But once we get here, we're kind of here. We do win with king high, which is nice. 2-3-4-8 rainbow's probably a little bit too loose, but I don't think it really matters too much. 6-6-8-4 in the small blind here. Against a raise, we're gonna fold. Against a fold, we probably would have raised or called, either one. So yeah, like on that last board, deuce 3 was a nut low. He had deuce 3, but he had no pair. He had 8 high. We had king high. Here on the turn, nut low would be deuce 3. Really like any sort of 5 deuce. 5-3 would be a good low as well. Even short-handed, I would say almost any low is somewhat playable. There's some that you don't get to showdown, but a lot of them you do. Vanek there had king 10-7, I think it looked like. King 4-7-8 here on the button's a little bit too weak. If I had king 4-7-8 double suited, I'd consider it. Oh, I'll show you the games for a second. Actually, yeah, while we're waiting here. So we played 7 stud, limit Omaha 8, Raz, PLO capped, limit hold'em, stud 8 or better, deuce 7 triple draw, and no limit hold'em capped. I usually always say, interesting, he didn't bet the river with a straight. Yeah, 8 games, great mix. You get the full horse experience, plus you get the full range of 8 games, which it's become a pretty popular tournament during the series and all the other tournament series. Against a limp here, the ace queen 5-7, we're going to open. Really, any sort of like ace wheel card plus ace Broadway card is just a really strong holding, especially shorthanded. Especially if you got one suit. You would like to have the ace, but if you don't, you don't. Not too concerned that he has ace deuce here on the button. I mean, I guess theoretically he could trap, but that's not something that most people do. Usually that's like some sort of high hand. In like a full ring game Omaha 8 or better, you tend to see it more often. Queen deuce 3-4 here with a suit. I think this is close, but I think I'm going to open this one. And we get 3-bet. So we're going to proceed cautiously, but we're going to see a flop. Queen 10, Queen Jack 10, 7 rainbow. Really no equity immediately. Even if I hit my queen, there's a good chance he's got like something like ace king. So we're gonna let this one go. We do have 3 backdoor low cards, but if we're against a hand that he's representing by the fact that he re-raised us on pre-flop, those hands have us in really bad shape because we have no pair at that point. If we flopped a pair, we continue, but since we have no flopping queen high, we're gonna let that one go. Raz, best hand in Raz is 5-4-3-2-1. Ace plays low, does not play high. What do we got here? We got 10-5-4 against an 8 bring in. I'm gonna go ahead and raise against the 7 limp. He's representing here that he's a little bit weak by limping in here. He might also just be choosing to play it kind of cautiously with a 7-3 against a 4. Make a really good card for my range here. Ace 4. I got ace deuce 4. Remember the best hand is 5-4-3-2-1. I have 4 to a wheel here, which is really strong, and my board is 4-2-1. Now when he calls here on 6th Street and he checks to me, nothing has changed. Like, I catch a really bad card, he catches a mediocre card, so if I bet the previous street, he should call again. But I'm just going to check now because I think he's going to call. And then when I make the 6 on the river, this is a very, very, very easy bet. Because he basically has to have 3 cards underneath to beat me. So he can technically have a better 6. I have a 6-5-4-2-1. But it's almost extremely unlikely he has a better hand than me, given the way that hand played out. Kind of interesting. It's definitely interesting to note that he folded. Raz here, I do have 3 cards, 8 or under, but I have a pair, and the pair is not good. Against the 4, we're just going to fold. There are times in your hand when you can probably play a brick in your hand against, like, if you're bringing in short-handed, someone steals 100%, but even then it's rough. You'd have to be in a situation where, like, the 3's the bring in and it folds to the deuce. But the thing is usually in situations like that, if I'm bringing with a 3 and a deuce raises me over, like, say, right next to me, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't have 100%. Like, if a deuce opens from this position, I have a king, they should be opening 100%. And if you have 2 low cards in your hand, you're actually doing okay against the range. Jack 9-6 against a deuce. We're going to fold. But it is something that if you want to learn to play Raz, especially shorthanded too, you have to learn to play. You have to learn to play against the steals. And we have 2 kings. We have the 10. We're just going to open here because probably playing a little bit too tight, and this is also just a good one to raise up. All right, we got PLO capped, so this is a 40 big blind cap, 25 cents. Against the min raise, I'm gonna pot it. If he potted it pre-flop, I was just gonna call with the Queen Jack 10, 3 clubs, but when he decides to do something like that, just gonna go this way. And now that we have 3 clubs on a board that he shouldn't connect with too much, we're just gonna pot and then get it in with the flush draw. I don't really love this play per se, but what we're representing on this board texture, like in the SBR, is 2. I'm just gonna pot it. We do have a lot of aces in our hands, and that includes like a lot of wheel draw pairs kind of thing. Let's see here. We got king high flush draw 2-9, so we got king 9 at 6 in the PLO. We're gonna pot this one, and if we get repotted, we're probably just gonna fold. In this game, with the ante being with the dead money right here, you see 38 cents, and the big blind's only 25. In this situation, we should have a fair bit of limps. So you can play a mixed strategy here between like limping, calling, and raising. Or I'm sorry, limping, like raising like say 2.5x, and then potting full to 5x, because the distribution between like raising small and raising big is so high. We have flop top pair here, but nothing else. We're just going to check. This board, this queen 10-7 board, really connects pretty well with their cold calling ranges, and obviously like that 9 just ends the hand for us. We're done. We're obviously hoping to turn some equity somewhere, but the 9's no good. 3-4 queen 7 against a min raise we'd probably call. Against a pot size open we'd definitely fold. It's the worst combination besides rainbow. Ace king 6-7 here. This is a hand that I think is like one of those hands, if you ever look at solvers, would probably just turn their hands into a bluff pre-flop, meaning like they just want to raise full pot, and if they get any action, like the hand's okay, and if they get repotted, you just fold. But you block the ace and the king, so it's just very unlikely that your opponent's going to have aces or kings in there, which means they're probably folding a lot. And this is an example here where we're just going to limp the button here with queen 10-8-4. We do a lot of limping, again, with all the dead money in there. This flop texture, I'm just going to go ahead and bet small. I don't really have too much. I have a backdoor flush draw. I don't have an immediate straight draw. I got some overcards. Like, if I get called, I have some equity. So I'm just going to go ahead and bet like half pot. We win that one too. Limit hold'em. See, Super Systems 2 has a good limit hold. Queen deuce suited. I think I'm pushing a little bit of equity here with this against a limp, so we're going to raise it. Good board for us. So we're going to bet once. When we get called, I think we just give up against his range. Yeah, I think we're going to give up with the queen here. Jack. Kind of interesting river, actually. I unblock a lot of like the 9-7s, the 10-9s, stuff like that. I don't unblock the ace highs. I think I'm just going to check back here. Yeah, so we actually do win against the 9-10. I definitely think the 9-10 should probably just be check raising there. Or doing some betting somewhere, even betting the river. Like the 10 high. The 10 high can't win at showdown, really. I mean, I guess he can. Like if I have 5, no, I have 5, 6, like 6-7, I bet turn. Yeah, I don't think he can win with 10 high, so he probably has to bet river. 10-7 suited here. We open. We're just playing a lot of hands today. It's kind of fun. 10-3 off. We're going to find fold. Super System's got a limit hold'em version. The Super System 2 has a limit hold'em version. I think Jen Harmon wrote it. And I think there's some other mixed games book there with limit hold'em. But I mean, honestly, if you Google it online, you'll probably find a lot of information nowadays. 6-9 off here. I'm not sure about this one, but I think against everyone playing a little bit tight, I think this is okay. We flop open-ended, so we're probably going to play this a little bit aggressively unless we get shown some aggression. Do get raised, so we're just going to call. For kind of an interesting one to consider check raising, but I think everyone's played so tight that I'm just going to like decide not to do anything really else with this. Except now on the river when I make a pair, I'm just going to go ahead and check call. I expect my opponent to have like a fair bit of aces. But we don't fold second pair here when we get to the river for one bet. He does have 8-6 of clubs, so we actually win. I think his check is probably okay. He does lose. He ends up losing 8 deuce suited here on the buttons fold, too weak. He does end up losing to some draws there on the river. Like all the draws either got there or made a pair with a 9. Or I'm not sorry, not all, but all straight draws got there with a pair or 9. So somewhat close. He does block one of the straights though, so it's probably okay. I don't think he's going to get like snap called there by king high every time. See, we got limit hold'em, stud 8 or better, deuce to 7. Looks like we might get the full rotation today, which would be fantastic. As always, if you guys like the content, like, subscribe, and if you want to open a Phenom account, play some mixed games, low limit stuff, click the link below, register. It helps me, keeps me motivated to keep making videos. Hope we don't lose him over here. Hope he doesn't sit out in Georgia. Interesting. It's not 8 or better. The 5 limps here, I'm going to go ahead and bet just again because I think my opponent's a little bit passive, but I actually think he probably has like something decent. Like I would say like his range is probably slightly stronger than mine just because I think he's playing a little bit tight. When he catches 8-5-6 here and I have 2 bricks, I'm just going to fold. Even though I have 3 wheel cards, I could be in really bad shape against 3 low cards. 2-4-5, really strong hand, 8 or better stud. 3 to wheel. I'm going to go ahead and raise here just because hopefully later on a later street my opponent makes a mistake. I think against a lot of good players I don't necessarily play it this way. It depends on how wide they're opening. When I open pair deuces, I'm going to go ahead and bet and hopefully he folds. He probably shouldn't, but yeah, I think he's just playing a little bit tight. I mean, he could have something like 3 clubs that don't connect at all, but it just looks like a lot of times that I just pair deuces and have like nothing else. Steady or better here. Probably just going to do the same thing, just kind of keep my foot down a little bit since I think my opponent's playing a little too tight. Even if I get open, if I get 2-bet by the jack, it's still okay. I have an overcard to the jack in my hand, and I have 2 low cards with 2 suits, so we're going to see 1. We're going to peel 1. If we totally brick here, which we don't, make queens, we're definitely not going to check raise here. We're going to somewhat slow play it. And hopefully, if we end up scooping with the queens, I hope the game doesn't break because I had a queen on the hole. He makes open, now he makes split 3, so I'm not raising my queens. It's most likely he has split jacks or another pair, so he has 2 pairs, so we're not pushing any equity here. We're slightly behind. We do have backdoor straight draw, low draw, and overpair. Kind of the same thing here, like I don't think we're pushing equity in this spot with a 4 flush and overpair to jacks. I think we're just call, and now when we hit 10s, he's bet into us on, this is really important, he bet into us on 6th street and our board came down 7, queen, 6-4, so technically like a lot of times I make a low, so he still bet into us, so we're just going to check back and give up. And yeah, he did have split jacks, so I'm actually quite happy with the way that we played that. The only thing I would really want to run is like a random hand on 6th street. I'm pretty sure he's a favorite there with 2 pair, but we have 4 to a low, we have an overpair, and we have a straight draw as well. So that's one of the spots I would love to run the equity. Actually, I might pause the video at the end and just show you guys something like Pro Poker Tools and see how we're doing there. A3-7 like off against suited ace, like his range here when it's folded to me and I'm the bring in with the three diamonds, his range here should be extremely wide, but they've been playing pretty tight. My hand's kind of disconnected, so I'm just going to call. I have 4 low cards at this point. Really bad 5th street here because now he catches 3 low cards, and he has ace high, so his high is definitely better than us no matter what. And if he has any sort of low hand, we're in really bad shape because we have an 8-7 draw, and he could theoretically have a 7 here. We're just going to give it up. And again, these guys have been playing pretty tight, so I have no problem like making this fold. Fold the jack 9-7 in a spot where my opponent there has like 100% range. It's one of those spots where, yeah, we're definitely pushing enough equity to continue, but at the same time too, our reverse implied against a really strong board is not great. So it really depends on the price you're getting going forward, because 5th, 6th, and 7th street are all the big bet streets. So there's an extra big bet street as opposed to like limit Omaha or limit Hold'em. Obviously the turn in the river, there's 2 big bet streets, but in stud, 5th, 6th, and 7th are all big bet streets, so it can get a little bit more expensive. Got jacks and 5s. I'm not sure how that went down. Definitely think you need to be betting 2 pair a fair bit in the stud games, especially like stud 8 or better. Just like a lot of random possibilities you get called by. Thinking like you might have a low. We would play the 8-4-7 there for 1 bet. 1 card 4 here. We're going to fold. not drawing to 9s at the start unless it's a really rough 9, and it's like a 1-card draw. This is not a 1-card 9 draw though. This is a 3-card 7 draw. Again, best hand induced to 7 is 7 5 4 3 2. You're going to win with most 7s, especially a wheel. Most 8s are good hands. 9s are some good hands. 9 4 6 here. We're just going to he raised me. Okay, we're still going to call. We're going to break the 9 and we're going to keep the 4 6. Now it's good to know that we had the 9 4 6 here. So make a mental note. We had 9 4 6. Now we catch 3 9s. Really interesting. Because now I think I'm going to keep the 9 if he bets. So I'm going to go ahead and bet, keep the 9, and just like play this one a little bit rough. And we're just going to pat this hand now. I'm going to bet. This is an unbreakable hand too. It's a good 9. It's 9-6. There's a lot of combinations of 9-8, 9-7. It's a good 9-6, but if we're really faced with any action, we're kind of in trouble. Here in the small blind, deuce 5. Whenever you get a chance in deuce 7, you definitely want to have a deuce. Against a limp, I'm not going to raise my 3-card draw out of position here. I'm just going to call and draw 3. So we got a 9-10. 9-10 ace are my dead cards. It's going to go 3-3. If I improve to a 1-card draw, I'm still going to check here. If I improve if I improve by 1 card to a 2-card draw, I'm still going to check. If I improve 2 to a 1-card draw, most likely I'm going to go ahead and bet. And if I'm pat, and here I improve to 8-6-5-2, I'm going to go ahead and bet against 3-3-3. If I am pat, I usually go for check raise. Sometimes I'll go for leads too, but a lot of times I go for check raise. Probably in this spot, it's just better to lead because I think these guys are playing a little bit passive. It goes 1-2-1, and I don't necessarily think he's going to bet 100% against a person who drew 2. So we make a really nice hand here, 8-6-5-4-2 against a 2-card draw, 1. What are my blockers here? I don't really block too much, I guess. Queen, a 9, a 10, and an ace. But I think this is just still too strong against a 2 to pat. That's really bad. I actually kind of want to fold this hand now, but I'm going to go ahead and call just in case he's doing something crazy. Again, I think the majority of players here, just like the way that they've played the other hands in this round, I think we're not doing too well. But at the same time, we have a really strong hand. So I would say that the strength of my hand goes down significantly the way that he just played his hand. And the way that he's played the past rounds, I think, like, unfortunately. I think we lose here a lot, but I'm still going to call. Yeah, he's got a wheel. But, like, a lot of times when it goes 1-2-1, especially when you're playing higher limit games, if I bet there, this player behind is going to try to isolate a lot of strong hands. Or if he makes a really rough hand, just try to get the other player behind to fold. But yeah, I mean, I'm 86542. I believe in that situation's number 86542. So I believe that's number 8. It's been a while since I've counted them all. Number 9 is 86543. Number 10 is 87432. So yeah, when we have a top 10 hand against a 2 to pat, we almost never fold. Our hand is just really strong. Now, it depends if it's like 4-way action and there's a lot of action out there, that can change it. But given the fact that we were basically heads up when Disruptor folded, yeah, we're just like never folding. Interesting, we have a chop here. So they have this exact same hand, 87642. Okay, Nolan Holden capped. So we play the 7-card stud round. Yeah, I guess this is the last round. We're going to get a full rotation. I'm really happy about that. I'll play an extra round or 2. Oh, but I do want to show that stud 8 hand. So, Nolan Holden cap. Again, I think everyone's playing like a little bit too tight here. So I'm going to go ahead and raise the King 9 offsuit. Again, I should be doing a lot of, I think, limping, just given the fact that there's a lot of dead money in there. But I probably just went it a lot, honestly. 7-9 off. Fold. I'm sure as a lot of you know players know that there's like, I wouldn't say limping in this situation is non-existent, but it pretty much is non-existent. So like usually you're doing a lot of raising. PLO, it's a lot different because equities run really close. So you definitely want to be doing a fair bit of limping given the pot size. Ace-4 suited here. Probably depends on raise sizing. I was about to say, like, a lot of times I'm going to elect a 3-bet even at 40 bigs. Can do some calling, but if you decide to raise like 6x or something pre-flop, I probably would just call. Queen deuce offsuit here. We're going to call. Kind of the same thing here. I'm just going to bet small, and I think I just exploitatively win a lot here by just kind of betting. King 5 suited here. This is a definite open. There's my 2.5. I'm just going to make it 2.5. Yeah, if they overfold, we're doing extremely well with all the dead money in the pot. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's play a little bit more stud. 5, 6, 7 here. We're going to defend unless it goes raise and re-raise, and even then it's kind of close. Just maybe from an equity standpoint, it's not necessarily close, but I think my opponents again are just going to make mistakes on later streets. Like this is 100%. We're going to defend here and call. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now when he bets, I don't expect him to have 100% range. I expect him to actually have like an okay hand. So we're going to call the 4, 5, 6, 7. Open-ended here is like a really strong hand. If he bets the queen jack 6 here, we're definitely going to raise. Now we have one pair. We're open-ended. Most likely he can have like some sort of high cards. He can have some sort of split queens. But we're doing really well against that range. And honestly, he might just fold here. Mm, 10, 6, 7 here. So he does fold, and that's obviously a really nice win for us. And again, like if he's got kind of a mediocre-ish hand, like going forward, his reverse implied odds aren't necessarily like super good, but it should be relatively, I would say, okay to play. I don't think he's folded split queens there. That would be way too tight. I mean, I guess it's possible, but a lot of times he could just have ace high. Looks like this game is probably going to break up here in a second. Okay, now heads up stud, a little bit more, little different demon, I would say. Like here in this situation, like buried sevens with a jack, even against a king, it's just a super strong hand. So if the king raises, we'll probably put a little bit of pressure on him and just go ahead and 3-bet or 2-bet. But it looks like this game actually might be going down. So either way, I'm just happy we got a full rotation in. And he might just time out. Sorry to leave you in suspense. I'll remind myself to pause it and see if I can pull up the simulation to see about that one hand. It looks like he came back, so we're going to 2-bet this buried sevens here. Catch a pretty good card as suited jack, or suited 4. Kind of catches pretty much a brick. So we're going to keep betting. And at this point, we definitely think we have the best hand. Like, there's no question we have the best hand, especially given the action now. Yeah, we'll we got Lemon Omaha next. Play through to Lemon Omaha round if it lets us, and then we'll see if I can run that sim. 7, 9, 8, 5, 2. Yeah, just a little bit too disjointed, and like he did limp in, but he caught a relatively good card for his like limping. Like he could have like 7, 8, 10 or something like that. This is another situation again where the ace is going to raise like almost 100%, and we have a buried ace in the hole with split sixes, 2 suit. We're going to 2-bet this hand. He catches an okay card, but again, like his range is so wide, it doesn't really matter. He bets, which is, I don't think he should be betting here. I think he should check 100%, but okay. Like, he's usually signaling that he made a pair of 10s, I guess. We're still calling. We're not folding now. 6, 7, 8. Again, he's repping 2 10s, but his range is relatively wide, so we're at least going to see 7th Street and see what happens if we can make 2 pair. Catch a 10, which is an interesting card, honestly, because now we block the 10s. Like, we block a lot of his range. We block aces, we block 8s, we block 10s. I mean, I guess theoretically he could have like a king jack, but we have a king 2. So, I mean, I guess when I check here, I'm expecting to see a pair of 10s, but I'm not betting 6s. I'm not really bluffing. He just had 5s, so we actually pip him. Yeah, he should have just checked on 4th street. Like, his board was fine, but given the action pre-flop, I don't think you should bet there. I don't think that's a thing. Well, who knows? It's more like a description of given the action and nothing really changes. Against the limp here, we're going to raise the king, especially with 2 jacks. It's very likely he has split jacks, probably has some sort of like straight draw. Going forward, we get to basically kind of push the action with a king high. And if it changes, now we catch the jack, so obviously he has no split jacks. My guess is he has something like 3 to a straight draw, maybe 3 to a flush. Yeah, he folds. All right, we're gonna play a little 08, and I'm gonna pause the video and see if I can find the find a sim where we can run the stud 8. 5-5-6-6 is a hand that we definitely defend in the big blind. We have gut shot to the bottom end of the straight, backdoor flush draw. This actually is a good board for us in the big blind. We do a lot of cold calling with hands that connect with this board. Vanek shouldn't be raising hands that really connect with this board, and Disruptor has some hands that he could be calling here in the small blind. But with the bottom end of the gut shot, we're just going to fold. Especially with a player behind us who could open the action again. That's turn. I would expect he has a fair amount of straights here on the turn. Definitely should be betting like straights on the river too, I would say. I think that's totally fine. Definitely want to get paid off light when you do have a straight. So king 9-9-6 here and limit 08. We're just gonna fold. Where is I don't want that. I want. Yeah, I'll pause the video. Oh, we flop quads. Bad fold. Bad fold. No, good fold. Bad flop. So I have to think of that hand. So 8 or better stud. We have queen 3, 4. I think we had queen 3, 4, 6, 7. Queen, queen 3, 4, 6, 7 against jack, jack, 3, 3, deuce. Probably another jack. Probably most likely no 4 house. 9, 3, 5, 6 here. I think it's close again, but I'm going to open it. Say 3 real cards is probably close to 100% open here on the button. 9, 6 with at least 1 suit. I think makes it okay and playable. This hand in like a 6-handed game that would not be playable. I don't think, because what happens in like a 6-handed game, if it goes fold, 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 you actually have you have a fair bit of information that's already been given to you. You already know like most likely those hands don't contain an ace, or if they do, they're really weak. That means the blinds are more likely to have it. Here I flop a 6-high straight draw, but I'm still going to check it. We do turn the 6-high straight. The rest of my hand is kind of like mediocre. These guys decided to flat me. Flush draw I don't have, even though I block a diamond. I think checking here is totally fine. Also, it gives me a little hidden deception here when I make the 6-high straight. So I do have a 6 low now. The best low would be ace 5. That would be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And ace 6 would actually technically be a better low. And beautiful river card, total brick. I don't think in position there we ever check a 6-high straight. I think it's just too valuable in the big bet streets. And we're gonna bet this one again. I think the only thing that would call us that we would split with is ace 6. Everything else we're gonna scoop. He actually flopped a set and turned a flush draw. So yeah, played that one pretty well. Do 3 more hands here. 9, 9, 10, 3. We're just gonna fold to any aggression. We're gonna check it back here. Flop a really big hand.